One of the most heated and debated topics in the music business right now is a simple question that has a very paradoxical answer. And it's actually what is separating a lot of musicians from seeing results in their music business when it comes to getting more sales from your fan base. So what is the question? Well, the question is, what is your product as a professional artist? Now, I know a lot of you are thinking. You were sitting there going, oh, Dax, this is easy. I'm a professional artist. My product is obviously my music, right? What if that wasn't the answer? In fact, what if that was the opposite of the answer? And what if, even more importantly, what if you operated your music business from that perspective of your music being your product was a guarantee that you would fail? Well, I think you would want to figure out what the real answer is, right? So that's what I'm going to be breaking down in today's video, is the truth on the matter, the whole truth and nothing but the truth of what is your product as a professional artist in the new modern age. So a lot of people I know, they said music is the product. Well, here's the thing. I understand why you say that, right? Because it's kind of a logical, like, I'm a musician, my product is my music. Duh. Well, here's the thing. If this was 1975 or 1985 or even 1995, you would be right. And that would be your product. Because how did people consume music? What did they do? They would, I saw something on MTV or I heard something on the radio. So I didn't have to really pay for those things, because most kids were consuming a lot of music, parents were paying for stuff, you know what I mean. So kids and stuff were like, I hear the music on the radio, I see it on MTV, I'm going to go to the record store and buy the music. The music was the product. Is that how people consume music nowadays? Not even close. Most people are exposed to music through a variety of different mediums, but here's the thing. Things like the radio still operate effectively in smaller towns. You have YouTube, which is a global phenomenon. So obviously there's like ways to consume music now that are completely free on YouTube. And then there's Spotify. And so a lot of people as artists, they're frustrated. They're like, how come my music is not making me money anymore? Because they're operating from the perspective that their music is their core product. Now listen, you can have a product that is your music. You can have a CD. You can have a vinyl, right? You can do a cassette if that's something that your fan base is interested in, right? But is that the core product now? Is that your core thing that every single one of your fans are going to be buying now? I would argue no. Things have changed. I've even seen with my one-on-one clients over the years how offers that circulate around a piece of music. So for example, I have a CD with some cool, awesome bonus stuff around it. That offer tends to underperform. Why is it underperforming? Because music as a core product is not the same as it used to be. And here's the reason why. A lot of you are thinking, well, Dax, I get that things have changed, but how is my music not the product? And why are they not willing to pay me for my CDs and vinyls and all this kind of stuff? Well, I'll tell you why. Because they already bought it. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, what do you mean they already bought it? I haven't seen the money from it. No one told me they already bought the music from me. No, they already bought it. But they just paid Spotify. They paid $16, however much Spotify subscriptions are now. They paid the $16 and then they got access to your music as a consequence. They already bought your music in their mind. And you may be thinking, well, I haven't seen a penny of it. I mean, well, you've seen some micro pennies of it. You've seen some 0.003 cents of it per stream. But here's the rub. They already paid for it, guys. They already paid for it and you sold it to Spotify. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying don't have your music on Spotify, because that would be, from a marketing perspective, pretty silly if you think about it. Because if this is a place where consumers, as the whole population around the world, have changed how they consume music, and the music is now mostly going to be discovered on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, then yeah, you better get your music up on those platforms. But Dax, I'm not paid in a fair way for the music. Well, unfortunately, I think we are being paid a fair amount. We just don't like the circumstance that we're in. What do I mean? How is it fair, Dax? I'm getting paid 0.003 cents a stream. How is that not robbery? Well, I want you to think about very basic, simple economics. What happens when there's too much supply and there's not enough demand to meet the supply. The price goes down. Can you think of any type of commodity that is so saturated on a daily basis other than music? There's 100,000 songs uploaded to Spotify every single day. And is all that music getting listened to by all the people that are out there? No. People don't have the time or the amount of ears necessary to consume all this music. Maybe if we had 8 ears and we could have headphones on each pair and be listening to different music at the same time, maybe we might be able to put a dent in the supply versus demand discrepancy in the music business. But until humans grow extra ears and we figure out how to live forever so that way time is no longer an issue, then maybe. You see what I'm saying though? But just, I know it's unfortunate. I'm not saying it's a good thing or that I like it. Heck, if I could have it my way, I wish that artists had all the independent control that they do now, but we have the economics of the old music business where we could sell physical items because they had a higher margin and we could make more money. But guess what? Just because I wish it doesn't mean it's going to come out into the world, right? We have to look at the world as it is today, okay? And as the music sits today, it's not your core product. So Dax, if music is not my core product, first and foremost, what is it? Well, I'll tell you what it is. Your music is your marketing. I know some people are like, wait a minute, what? Yeah, your music, since it doesn't have the same economic value that it used to because people's consumption habits have changed, that means the music is now the marketing. For what, Dax? Your brand. I want you to look at the biggest, most successful musicians in the world right now. Take a look at Taylor Swift. I'm not a huge Taylor Swift fan, but I respect her marketing because she is a genius when it comes down to her branding and her marketing. She has built up such a brand that when people say Taylor Swift, you can almost just picture everything about her just in the name, right? But what has she done really well? She puts out a lot of music consistently. Her music creates this bond and connection with her. So what does she say in return? Does she waste this valuable moment that she's having with her fans and say, thank you guys so much for supporting me and coming out to my concerts and making me $1 billion on my last tour? Go to the merch table and buy my music. Is that what she says? No. No. At the merch table, sure, you could possibly buy that CD, but what is mostly being sold at Taylor Swift's merch table? Her clothing lines, her merchandise, her jewelry, like anything that Taylor can create that is a commodity, her fans will buy because it's not even really about the product. I mean, if you look at, like, in my genre, I'm a metal/rock musician. So we're just fundamentally, from an economic perspective, our product is mostly t-shirts. We're fundamentally traveling t-shirt salesmen. And some people are like, ooh, that makes me feel weird. That's just because you have a cultural programming around selling. And that actually isn't based in anything that's in reality. It's based on cultural bias. And I don't have time to go into that today. I have other videos where I've talked about this, where culture tries to program us to believe things so that they don't have competition. I don't have time to go into it today, but you have to understand that there is such a bond that Taylor's fans have around her created from the music. So the music is what goes out and creates the bond. That's the marketing. You're putting the music out there for free on social media, YouTube, you're putting it out there on Spotify and all those other platforms where people can discover you. But as a consequence, the product that you try to sell them should not be the music because they already paid for it. I hope this is like really ringing true into y'all's brain. It's like, yeah, okay, no wonder no one's buying my CDs. They already bought it fundamentally when they paid for their subscription to their streaming service. Because in the consumer's mind, why would I pay for it twice? Now, what if you created something around that? So I'll give you just a couple examples. I went on tour with a band called Cane Hill. Very cool guys. I loved hanging out with them on tour. They were all very down to earth, very nice people. One of the things that they are, part of their brand, for a while was a bit of this stoner metal type thing. And they were such blatant stoners that they talked about, like, jokingly, make sure you buy some merch, it helps us buy weed. Like, they were so upfront about it. What do you think was one of the items that they were selling at their merch table? They were selling grinders. And people bought them up like crazy. Why? Because that's around their brand. It matches the lifestyle of the people they attracted into their brand. And it's an obvious product choice to sell to someone like that. Duh! The only thing I could think of better is if you're a Girl Scout cookie saleswoman and you could come to a rock show full of a bunch of stoners. You're going to make bank. Just wait outside the bar and you're going to see a bunch of people willing to spend way too much money on munchies. It's just what's going to happen. But you need to be thinking like this for your fans. You need to be thinking about this, about like, okay, what are my fans going to buy anyway? What are they going to buy anyway? And that is what becomes your product. As an artist, you have a brand, you have an image, you have a sort of attitude and a story. Really, that's what a brand is a story that the customers or the fans of that brand want to live within. Like, if you think about that, from any other perspective, from any other company, that's what branding is, okay? So, how do you create a brand that aligns with who you are as a person, is very authentic to you, and is a natural kind of state, and almost like a state of like, I wish I was living to my fullest potential at all times, and that's what I want my brand to almost sort of represent, is just me maxed out in authenticity. And you start living in that. So for Cane Hill, they were very upfront, like, we're stoners, we're going to sell grinders, and they made a lot of money as a consequence, because the branding, the music, and the market all had a match together. So what you need to be thinking of is your music as your marketing so that you can sell your products. So when I hear the question, this is why I said this is a paradoxical answer. When I hear the question, what is your product as a professional musician? To me, I'm like, that is a silly question. That's a question that is dumb as a box of rocks. Why? Because I don't know what your product is as an artist. What is your brand? Are you basically going to be like in the metal rock sphere where you're fundamentally hawking t-shirts? Is that the thing that you're going to be selling a majority of the time? Okay, well, in that situation, your core product is your t-shirts. But what if I'm a pop artist who's female and I have a cosmetic brand and I'd like to mix those two things together? Okay, well, then your core product is your cosmetic stuff. Your music builds the affinity to create fans, and the fans are like, oh my gosh, you have cosmetic stuff? Let me buy that. Okay, cool. Do you see what it means? So when people say, what is your core product as a musician? Not only is that a bad question, it's an even worse thing to try and answer the question, music, and then live your life and put your music business operations into place from that perspective. That's why I said it's the opposite of the right answer. You understand? It's because the idea of like your core product is your music, nowadays, when it's something that's fundamentally given away for free, is a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe to constantly scratch and claw and grind and not see any results. Now, there's only one exception that I can possibly see music being somewhat of a valid product, which is at a live show in certain genres. You could possibly sell that at the merch table, but it's not even going to have the value of you're buying the music because you're going to go put this in your CD player in your car. A lot of new cars don't have CD players. What that means most likely is they want you to sign it so it's a memorabilia item. So you see what I'm saying? Like, even in that scenario, it's not the product because it's the music. It's the product because it's a memorabilia item. So hopefully this is starting to like blow your mind apart as to like, oh, I get it. The music is not the product. The music is the marketing to attract the fans to my brand, and my brand sells products. And that is how I monetize my fan base. Is not by getting them into my circle through music and then trying to sell music back at them. I don't think that's a valuable thing to do as an artist. I think you're largely going to waste your time if you do that. I've seen clients painstakingly try offers with CDs and music-centric offers, and they do not perform as well as merch-centric offers, commodity-centric offers. You know, maybe you have an older demographic, coffee mugs, calendars, things that they're gonna have anyway. You know what I'm saying? You need to be thinking in this vein of, what are my dream fans, the people who are the average everyday person in this specific area, what are they doing every day? What's their day look like? And what's something I can sell to them that they're gonna buy anyway? So like I said, if you're in like the 420 stoner camp, there's plenty of products that you guys could sell. You could sell grinders, you could sell joint rollers, you could sell all kinds of different stuff. Trays, you could sell the trays. Okay, that's one thing. Let's say you're a female artist or even a male artist who has a cosmetic line. Well, what's your core product? What do you think you're going to sell at your merch table? You're going to sell cosmetics. Well, Dax, that's kind of strange. Why? Because we have this preconceived notion that the only thing you could sell at a merch table is CDs. That's not the way it works. Like, you should have products. And that's why I encourage artists on this channel in my one-on-one client coaching to adopt the identity of entrepreneur. Because as a professional musician, you are by definition an entrepreneur. In fact, I looked at the definition recently. They've changed it, but I have pictures of it because I have them in courses that I've created for years, where entrepreneur, the second definition of entrepreneur, actually was a promoter or someone who is involved in the entertainment industry. That's your industry. So literally the roots of the word entrepreneur come from our business. So understand now, hopefully we've got some really great breakthroughs and stuff that we've learned that is very valuable, which is your music is not your product. It is your marketing to attract your dream fans. Okay? Second thing, well, we obviously need a brand that my fans can connect with so that when they check out the music and then they check me out, they're not just like aligning with the music, they're aligning with the brand as a whole. And then finally, we use the brand to sell products. What are the products, Dax? It all depends on what your brand is about. If you're someone like who's a country musician, there's lots of different things you could sell. What if you sold your own kind of hats? And when I say hats, I mean like 10-gallon hats and stuff. What if you sold your own boots or your own spurs? What if you sold belts? What if you sold koozies? What if you sold bottle openers? What if you sold trucker hats? Right? You see what I'm saying? Your product should revolve around the brand that you're trying to put forth. You know, so hopefully this is getting the gears turning for you guys of like, oh, okay, what would the people in my genre, what do they do on a day-to-day basis? And what can I create that they're going to buy anyway, but they would just get a cool version of it from me? This is how you can start turning your music into marketing that actually has a purpose. Because music with the marketing of, okay, now I'm going to sell you my product of music, is redundant and it just does not work anymore. And if you take one thing away from this video, take away that it has been tried and tested and it has been left wanting. That music-centric offers are not converting like they used to. And the really way that you need to convert is by associating your brand to these products and then have the music be the marketing for the brand. And so for a lot of brands like Taylor Swift, look at her as a model. Right? Her brand isn't like Viacom Megacorp. You know what I'm saying? It's Taylor Swift. It's her. It's authentic. And everything about the brand is authentic to her. Just like your brand needs to be to you. And when you're living in that authentic space, look at the things that you're buying on an everyday basis. You know, as artists, sometimes our buying habits are a little different than our fans because we're buying music-related stuff and music business education, music education on how to perform our skills better, you know, like all that kind of stuff. So don't use yourself as the perfect model. Think about what the average person in your fan base or in your genre, what are they doing? And how can I create stuff they're going to love? And hopefully this video gave you so many breakthroughs and so much value. If you did get some value from it, please click the subscribe button and the like button. It really helps out the channel. And if you watched this far, kudos to you. You're clearly a musician who's serious about your music business. If you'd like to potentially work with me, we have an application form. If you click the link in the description, you can fill that out and we'll see if it'd be a good fit to actually help you start making some progress in your music business. And thank you guys so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on another video inside of Musicians Ignite. Take care.